Victor Wanyama being an exceptional player.
Right.
It is not Asamoah Gyan coming back to the team. It is not the likes of JJ Okocha coming back to the national team. It's not a player that you has, of course, achieved so much as some other top stars in African teams. But again, from a positive viewpoint, I think it does provide experience. Remember, we have some youngsters who have played for City Stars. Remember, Wanyama started at City Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we have the likes of Timothy AUMA, who was called up by the new manager, that is Engin Firat, to the Harambee Stars squad. And so Wanyama's presence in this team will just act as give them experience, and of course show them a path that I've risen over the ranks from these small teams, and right now I've been able to achieve massive achievements. Talk of playing for Tottenham Hotspurs, Southampton, playing in the Belgian league. So I think that is from the positive viewpoint, and so we give the benefit of doubt to Ababu Namwamba. I know he has a good plan for Kenyan football.
Well, the decision to choose which player to actually participate and in whatever matches that will be played whatsoever, that is the responsibility of course, a coach, and in this case is Firat's responsibility. However, with the return of Victor Wanyama, of course, does it give motivation to the new players, and of course the blend of all the new players? Does it encourage or rather motivate some new players to even look up to Wanyama as a player who have been there, have seen it all, and of course to some might say have achieved it? And on the other hand, does it limit the potential of emerging stars that you have just mentioned? How does it, what impact does it create in the team?
I think the positive impact that is created here is not on the technical side of it.
Mm-hmm.
His addition, I don't think he'll be coming to this team to be involved so much in the upcoming matches. But I think it's all about the experience, as I have said. It's all about ensuring there is that iconic figure in this team whom players, the younger lads, can look up to and say, I would like to achieve what he has achieved.
Mm-hmm.
He has been here at the likes of City Stars, AFC Leopards, and of course achieved big achievements in the game. So I think his addition is all about, is not related to the technicalities and being involved so much in the team. It's all about providing that figure.
All right. Of course, his unceremonious exit, of course, the national team to some sort of fans and even football enthusiasts, kind of evoke some kind of mixed reaction. At one point, one might ask why a star of his caliber, as far as Kenyan football is concerned, will exit such a global stage at an early stage. And it only took Babu Namwamba one phone call and to make things right. And that begs the question, what really transpired between Ghost Mulee and of course Victor Wanyama?
Of course, the moment he left, that rang a bell for every Kenyan football fan who has been following the game for quite some time. It was, I think he was overlooked by the manager, because you can't convince me that they just had maybe 1 hour meeting or 2 hours meeting with Ababu Namwamba and everything changes.
All right.
So I think, I don't know what his expectation is coming back to the team. First of all, agreeing to, of course, to come back.
All right.
Being convinced by Ababu Namwamba, I don't know what he expects, maybe to be involved so much in these international matches. But of course, as you have said, I think there was something wrong between him and the manager.
Right.
They were not maybe getting along so well with each other, and we can only now wait and see his
Well-
impact.
Well, from my own, of course, judgment and how I know how things really actually work between players and, of course, the tacticians. Should it reach a point whereby you are a star in a national team, like let's say Victor Wanyama's case, then the coach decides to drop you, bearing in mind you are the captain, many people look up for you for the leadership, and of course, so many things for you to provide that leadership and even spearhead the team to victory. Then the coach decides like you're deemed surplus to my demand, my tactics, things like that. That of course sends two things to me.
Yeah.
First of all, you're not competent enough. Second of all, maybe it means maybe you are some sort of a star, but you're not complying with the rules and regulation. And according to the normal doctrines of rule, nobody's above the law. So it's hard to actually try to contemplate what really transpired between Victor Wanyama and Ghost Mule that forced Victor Wanyama, of course, to take early retirement. Of course, that is a subject that we leave it to speculation.
Yeah, but if I may add on that, I think in a case where you will see, of course, these players coming out of a team, like for example, talk of Cristiano Ronaldo, the likes of Aubameyang at Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
If it is all about indiscipline, I've seen it happening mostly with the younger managers, like the likes of Arteta. He needs to establish some authority in that dressing room, and then you see the age gap between Aubameyang and a coach like Arteta is not quite
Slightly
big,
different.
so there will be kind of, I've seen you play, so there won't be that kind of authority, and it's hard to control even the younger lads. So for Victor Wanyama, I think it was all about lack of quality. I think Ghost Mule was willing to give more chance to the younger lads.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, now let's switch gears, of course, to some rather other stories, of course, involving the same sports CS, that is Ababu Namwamba, and his meeting with the ADAC, of course, to discuss about the ongoing, headache. Actually, this has become a cancer that has hit headline, and of course, Kenya has been on the spotlight for the wrong reasons. I'm talking about the doping. Of course, they are meeting probably after this comes at the backdrop of a meeting between a World Athletics governing body in Rome that gave Kenya a second chance, of course, and Kenya was, or rather is, in a process of trying to make amends, of course, clean their house, and probably that might be the reason that necessitated for this particular meeting. What do you read in this meeting?
First of all, let me hail Ababu Namwamba, because I think for the short time he has been in office, he has shown a lot of proactiveness. He has been able to anticipate for negative outcomes from the doping, also talk about the FIFA ban, and he has been able to act beforehand to make sure that he can save what he can.
All right.
Before, of course, push comes to shove. But now from this meeting, I think one thing they are discussing is about the framework that they will take from now on, the work plan, because already we have had Kenya surviving slightly in matters concerning doping, and now it's all about starting from the base. What are we going to do to make sure that, of course, our athletes that is obey these kind of rules, and of course making sure that we have, for example, testing, regular testing for the banned substances. We are also talking about making sure that we have these athletes sensitized, and of course there is creation of awareness on the negative effects of doping.
All right.
For example, as I said, in the last few weeks, if you are caught doping, we have you can also, of course, lead your country to more suffering, because one of the options you are given, for example, by the Court of Arbitration for Sports, if you take your case there for appeal, you can be told, provide us with a list of athletes that have not been caught.
All right. When one of the key things that actually we came to realize about this, the whole things of doping, and of course, what we do know, the war is far from over, and Kenya is just one step, from being banned. And if we do make one mistake, and that's the end of road. It will take a lot of effort from all stakeholders, including Ministry of Sports, athletes themselves, and even stakeholders, to make sure that the already sinking ship, we salvage it for the longest time. And this sends some sort of signal, and actually it's red light everywhere. So Ababu Namwamba has no option. He really has to work hard to make sure that this thing, and of course this cancer that is eating, of course, our sport, our athletes, and of course our reputation that we have built for so long, is not taking much part of it. And actually our athletes, and even the status of Kenya as athletics powerhouse, is not damaged, because the reputation that we have built for so long, if something, of course, if God forbid, and Kenya get a ban, then that means things will be falling on totally different far edge of it. But the journey is long, and even athletics governing body admit it will take Kenya a long way to build that trust. There are a couple of cases that we have witnessed, and of course there is still some pending cases that now are happening, and 42 in particular pending cases. What does it bring out? And of course, even as we try so hard to fight this particular menace.
I think it shows we have had some sleeping officials who are not carrying out their roles the way it is supposed to be. And if you visit, for example, their page, that is ADAX page, one of their core values is you have good governance, we have accountability, and that is what Ababu Namwamba should focus on. If you are caught, for example, maybe involved, or you are, of course, proved guilty of helping these athletes in doping, it's all about being held accountable, so that it can act as an example for the others. I think, but at the end of it all, I think it all lies on the athletes, because you are the one being involved,
right? And
no one can force it on you that you must be involved in doping for you to, of course, conquer the world in these long races. So I think it's all about these players knowing that Kenya has a very good reputation in this sport,
right,
and making sure that they, of course, follow these guidelines. And I think, as I said about the sensitization, that is something that will be very important in this process.
All right.
Yeah.
And of course, they highlight the key issues. Among them, of course, it's athletes, awareness. There is even the aspect of involving interministries. That is Ministry of Sports, and of course we have the bodies like Athletics Kenya. We have agencies like ADAC, just to try to work together and try to lift Kenya from this. For me, I think the die is cast, if you ask me, and it's just a matter of time. One blunder, and then we're done. It's just a story that will be shocking. And actually, I'm afraid we might follow the Russian way, of which it will be very, so sad for our country, and even for athletes, for those who are really working so hard, putting their effort, investment and money to try and train to get the best out of themselves. So it will be very sad and terrible, of course, if such thing happened. Well, there is some repercussions since 2016. Of course, there is some measures that were put in place. If you found guilty, of course, committing, such acts, one of them is, sentencing,
Yeah.
and of course, even being banned from participating in any international competition. So far, we haven't seen any tangible action being taken, and for me, that's still a long way to go. Of course, this particular issue is a story that we'll be talking about over and over again. But now let's move on to some football action, and that is the FKF Premier League. Remember, this is March 4, and we have the likes of Tusker and Bidco United playing today. And a couple of matches have been postponed, 3-1 in particular. We have the likes of Vihiga Bullet vs Gor Mahia FC. We have Mathare United, Kariobangi Sharks, all those being postponed. And of course, today's match will be against Kakamega. We have Kakamega Homeboys will be playing against Ulinzi Stars at Buhungu Stadium. Remember, Kakamega Homeboys lost their opening match, but they have recovered. They have won 2 straight games, and that is 6 points. And today they'll be hoping to stretch it to 3 when they play against Ulinzi Stars. Remember, Ulinzi Stars recorded their first win last weekend.
Yeah.
And actually, the boys, under the stewardship of I think they are being, the former coach will be meeting, his side, Kakamega Homeboys. And I'm concerned about the match that will be very interesting to watch. It's Bidco United versus Tusker FC. Tusker FC have really started very well with, scoring goals and, of course, maintaining the margin. Remember, this is a team that last season won, but before, the league was nullified. The previous season, still they are the champions, they are the defending champions, and by the status of the league, they are still the defending champions, and by the look of things, they are really aiming for another one. So this is a team that will be hard to stop. But let's take a look at this Tusker and their performance, of course, under the stewardship of Robert Matano. Do you think they will hold, the grip, the fire, the agility, the momentum until the very end?
Yeah, they have to.
Mm-hmm.
There is no option for them. Remember, we are just talking about this in the aftermath of being deprived of their title last season.
Yeah.
I don't know if after the recent development concerning the promotion and relegation by the SDT, I hope it will also approve Tusker's trophy.
Right.
But now in this match, remember in pre-season they played with against the same side, Bidco United at Ruaraka, and of course it was a stalemate draw or a 2-2 draw, yeah. And right now they're in the first position with 9 points.
Mm-hmm.
They know they have Gor Mahia, of course, breathing at their necks with a game in hand, and so coming to this match, they have every reason. If you're not winning by 4 goals, at least you have to score, even if it's 1 goal, and of course make sure that you widen the gap at the top. Remember, Gor Mahia have been missing on the top chart for quite a while now, and this coming to this season, they of course have that urge to come and fight and battle for top position. And I've just read a statement concerning their team news,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be missing the likes of Humphrey Mieno. He's currently taking a CAF D coaching course for the next 10 days, but I think he'll be available next weekend. And I don't know what that means to them. Of course, we are talking about the captain figure. They'll be missing that in their team.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have some other senior players who can, of course, step in and fill that void. And so in this match, I think Tusker FC are going for a win.
Well, for me, I think it's Tusker FC for me still, because the momentum that they have started this league is quite amazing. But don't forget, this is a team that lost a couple of its players. We're talking about their first choice goalkeeper, that is Patrick Patrick Matasi. Then they lost a couple of players, but they have held that grim and they are still, giving, what we would expect from a team like Tusker. And this Bidco United have had some sort of fairy tale. They win, they lose, and they're not stable to some sort. And it will be hard for them to even salvage a point against a resilient team of Tusker's caliber. And of course, another match will be Kakamega Homeboys versus Ulinzi Stars. Of course, this one still is another very interesting match to take a look at.
Let me talk about Ulinzi Stars because last weekend I talked about Ulinzi Stars winning against Posta Rangers, and actually they did that. It was their first win of the season. And if I can be asked to explain why they were, or give my opinion on why they lost the opening two fixtures. Of course, they faced very good sides. We are talking about an example of AFC Leopards. And owing to the fact that they are under new leadership of Bernard Molala, this is like a transition period. You have seen, like for example, at Manchester United, during the preseason, we had a coach like that is Erik ten Hag using, it was a transition period where he wasn't really getting the boys to getting the idea about possession and so much of dominating matches, but the aim was to get a result out of every match. But now he's gradually of course making sure that he's implementing his possession based football. And that's the same case with a coach like Bernard Molala. He's just getting to learn about these players who can of course have that team chemistry, players who can play along each other very well. And I think going on, they can only get better. Again, talking about Kakamega Homeboys, they have lost to Tusker.
Right.
I think that was the opening match. And then they have won against KCB. That was quite a good result, owing to the fact that KCB are one of the best sides. Last weekend they won against Bandari, and they have also won against Police FC. Of course, Police FC has not been one of the best teams this season, but if I'm to go for one team, that will be Ulinzi, but I'll go for a draw, preferably. Yeah.
Well, Kakamega Homeboys have shown what it takes. This is just a replica of last season, the Kakamega Homeboys of last season. For me, after they shipped out, a couple of players, I thought that this season will be their season of doom. But they have really lived to, prove us wrong. They have won against tough opponents, and this is a winning mentality. A team that wants to challenge for titles must have the winning mentality. The chemistry, the bonding. Remember, now the tactician that is in charge of Kakamega Homeboys was former Vihiga Bullets, of course. And I remember Vihiga Bullets are, as things stand by, I think they will be heading to the relegation. Of course, they'll be playing the National Super League. Should the ruling, of course, if there isn't a ruling by the Sports Dispute Tribunal is anything to go by, then this team, Madare, and of course, the likes of Vihiga Bullets will be heading to National Super League. But the chemistry, and of course, the playing, the formation that the coach is using. Remember, this is a team that have lost a couple of 6 players and counting, and still they have managed to find their feet, and they are really challenging for this particular title. Then this is a team that is very strong, and they should be sending strong message to any team. So for me, I think it will be a walkover for Kakamega Homeboys. They will, thrash these Ulinzi Stars like nobody's business, because it's a team that have really proven, against tougher opponents. They played against Kenya Police. Remember Bandari FC, a team that really put up a spirited fight in the last season, and they really won against Bandari FC. They've beaten Ulinzi. I mean, they have beaten Kenya Police. The only team that really proved to be an uphill task was Tusker FC. But we know the caliber of Tusker FC. It's one of the most dominant teams in the history of Kenyan Premier League, and we can forgive them for that. But for today, I think it's a 3 points for them.
Yeah, spot on. But if I may add something on Ulinzi Stars, they have also received a boost with the return of Bonaventure Muchika at the heart of their defense, and also Waweru in midfield. So this is a boost for them, and I still think it will be a draw.
A draw for you.
Yeah.
Well, we have, excuse me, on Sunday, there is a big battle. That is KCB and Zoya Sugar. For many will say these are 3 points for, of course, KCB. But this Zoya Sugar is a very stubborn team. It's a very stubborn team one. And what do you look into these particular fixtures? Do you see Zoya Sugar, of course, pulling a surprise move, or it's same story?
Zoya started quite well, but again, coming to the second match, they lost in the final minutes against Gor Mahia. So it does just provide a signal and show you that they are a kind of team that is willing to fight until the last minute. Again, KCB, if you look at their past matches, last weekend they got a very good result, and this is a head start coming to this match. They beat Bandari, and then they have also beaten Police FC. Of course, talking about Police FC this season, we are talking about a struggling team that has just had a managerial switch. And Zoya Sugar, last weekend they lost against Ulinzi Stars, and they have a reason to come to this match, and of course show that we can continue from where we left. We have a lot of potential, and I still think it will be a KCB win, despite all these considerations about this Zoya side.
Well, if you go statistics head to head, KCB stand a chance, of course, but this is football, and it's a game of 90 minutes. The team that makes mistake, and the other one that capitalize on it is the one that carries the day. So it'll be a very interesting match to watch, but all indication points to KCB, of course, walking away with the 3 points, owing to, let's say, their financial muscles, their caliber of players, and of course, remember, KCB is a team that produced top scorer last season,
of course.
And we do hope the momentum will be there. He'll still want to, maintain with those winning strike, and hungry more for golden boot. And the only way to keep, margin stretching is by winning and scoring.
And of course, currently they are fourth, so they want to be, of course, to remain
or even go above that, a notch higher. Then we have Poster Rangers and City Stars. For me, these are two struggling teams. So, the swindle can swing in either way. It can settle on Poster Rangers or City Stars, because this is not a match that with that much magnitude, owing to the way there isn't outing between the two teams, and even their performance this season. It's not the one that you'll say, this will get against what. It's just a matter of who is lucky enough to carry the day.
I mean, for Poster Rangers and City Stars, the difference between them, one is seated at the bottom, 18th, and then we have Poster Rangers in 12th position. But the difference is actually they are birds of the same feather. But Poster Rangers at 12th, they have the team in 13th, 14th, and 15th. They have not played their matches.
Yeah.
And then we have the struggling Police in 17th, and of course City Stars also struggling in 19th. So in this match, I think it will be a match of luck. The team that, of course, implements their game plan better than the other, although I don't think they have such a strong game plan coming to this match. So I think it will be a game of fine margins. I don't expect so many goals from this one, but yeah, You also have City Stars having a goal difference of -6.
Well, there is 3 matches. This one, actually, if you are a player and a coach of this particular team, you'll be worried. I can only imagine what is happening, what is running in their minds right now in terms of psychologically. You're not playing, you don't know where you are, you don't know if you are in the top tier or you are in the National Super League. You're just there waiting. It is match day 4, no single game played. Players are even tired of waiting. I'm talking about the likes of Vihiga Bullets, and of course we have the likes of Talanta. Then Vihiga Bullets, Mathare United and Wazito. These 3 teams, their fate now hangs, on the balance some sort. Nobody really knows, where to head. But what do you read? 4 games, no any match played, no official communication, of course, from the governing body, football governing body, and you're wondering what is happening. Remember, a decision was already made and a ruling was made that, according to the ruling, that these particular teams, those that were supposed to be demoted, they're supposed to be demoted. So we are expecting Vihiga Bullets, Mathare United, and Wazito FC to actually take part in the National Super League, and teams like APS Bomet to be promoted to the top tier, and the likes of Fortune Sacco. But as things stand, it's just nobody really knows what is happening. So as we wind up this particular local review, what is your take in this, the whole conundrum of the 3 teams, the stalemate?
One word I would use to describe that is demotivation, because as I've said, these are players who have been always training in pre-season, knowing that you are coming to the first match in the top tier. But right now we are now talking about a team that, of course, a ruling has been made, but they are still hanging. They don't know whether we are in Kenyan Premier League or the National Super League. Again, if I may discuss this from a point of view of SDT, the only reason why this weekend the fixtures are ongoing, and of course we have not had a compromise on whether the likes of Mathare United will be playing in NSL, and of course the likes of Fortune Sacco being promoted to the Premier League, is they made the ruling quite late, and games cannot be postponed 72 hours to the kickoff of the first match, which is of course today. So I think they should, in the coming weeks, I expect a statement maybe from FKF to, of course, settle the whole issue. And I think it will be Mathare, the likes of Vihiga Bullets, and Fortune Sacco moving in the opposite directions here.
Well, that's it's a wrap for this particular local sports review. But just a quick one, we do hope that whatever the stalemate that is happening between Football Kenya Federation and of course the 3 teams, that Vihiga Bullets, Mathare United, and of course Wazito FC, can be resolved as soon as possible, so that the players have waited for long, and it's about time for them to actually get on the pitch and get into real action. I'm sure they have been preparing for this particular season, and their feet is itching, and they want to participate, and they want to play football and compete and to elevate their status. That is a team like Mathare United. We know their story. This is a team that it will be unfortunate for them to participate in the National Super League owing to their caliber. This is a team that has produced quality players, the ones that have really participated even in the international levels. And of course, that is a wrap for this particular local sports review. Up next is international sports review that will be coming up later on after this short break. Remember, you can keep on talking to us on our social media platform, on Facebook at KUTV Kenya, on Twitter at KUTV_Kenya, and remember you can tag me along at AUMA_012. Remember to use the hashtag on the spot. See you in a bit.
Some of the issues like we still see a lot of arrest and detention of journalists. That is supposed to have been covered by the law to avoid such things. We also see where there's threats of violence, like, for example, do not cover this story. If you cover it, you are threatened. And due to lack of accountability in the past, where those threats have happened, most people don't bother reporting. What do? They do what is called self-censorship. Like,
hello everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have box exercise, we'll have kata box, just name them.
Pull up in a beam, too much, too clean, and taller. Aye, don't foster, serious and other. A big time player, crib too big and ganja. I went flexer, Tina said gym,
The show comes every Thursday from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. Keep it locked, make sure we keep fit, and that's it from me to you. Let's be fit.
Big and ganja. I went flexer, Tina said gym, too hot like a heater. My neck done froze like winter. Don't bet it on liquor, Shay's told me picture.
Niko Watamu, niko katika kijiji kinachofahamika kama Zaire Kings. Hapo ndipo tutakuwa tunafanya mambo ya kifalme. Mambo ya kifalme ya jamii ya Mijikenda. Kwa hivyo leo tutakuwa tunaasa koma.
Hii mchanganyiko wa hapa, huu mchanganyiko huwa sasa ndio ni chakula cha hizi koma. Tunasema hii mchanganyiko huu ambao tunafanya huu ni chakula. Wakimaliza kula chakula,
Naam.
watu hupenda kunywa maji.
Hadi wazee wetu pia wanapewa maji eh?
Si kawaida. Anayeshiba hupenda kunywa.
Naam.
This is my jam down.
I said, man, I will never give up. Na hata nikisota show me something.
Everybody wanna feel like me.
You is like a river.
Real thing, if I never mama, I wouldn't believe it.
Hear me when I say just like.
Imagine living in a society that embraces social justice and equal opportunities for all. On Woman Crush Wednesday, Rise Today, we bring you experts for meaningful conversations on matters, gender equality.
Mimi nasaona hakuna gender equality as we speak.
So we continuously work with the men.
I feel that they're judging the girl.
Parenthood,
Mind is very important in infertility.
mental and physical health.
You need to be surrounded by a proper network.
After nimeanza healing process, nilikumbuka kuhusu boys na wase wenye niliacha ghetto. Like kila wakati nilikuwa najaribu kutafuta mbinu yenye naweza wafikishie ujumbe.
I feel like if you have 15 minutes, if you have 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever amount of time, use it, because any physical activity is beneficial. No physical activity is dangerous for you.
And we touch on current affairs.
Marrying is a journey. It means you're taking a journey together.
I'm dying to be different.
Changamoto ziko, but you can't sit there saying, oh, mimi nitafanya mziki siku yenye dozi takampe.
You look at this person and you're like, wow, they just woke up and they found themselves here.
Join us every Wednesday morning at 7 to 10 a.m. here on Rise Today Woman Crush Wednesday. I am your host, Nina Gikunda.
Innovated PATA system. PATA system basically helps people to get lost documents.
The platform is called X-Carbon. I have the word X-Carbon. I work with him
through this journey of developing this platform.
My project is a machine learning project, and it's based on the medical sector.
We have this project which is a farm management system.
The motivation was the way food shortage experience that we are having in Kenya.
All through the daily basis, I try to focus on the area of digital security.
Right, welcome back and thank you for always choosing On The Spot. Now it's time to talk about World Cup action, and of course this particular week we have seen a lot of football action, the one that I'm sure many fans, players will live to remember this particular tournament in the uttermost of their life, from the time the onset of it. Some feel surprised, and of course boys have been separated from men. And surprisingly enough, one of the tournament's favorites, Brazil, they had to bid bye-bye, and of course they'll be doing their samba dance somewhere in Sao Paulo outside Qatar, and it's quite a momentous joy for Argentina fans after, of course, thrashing Netherlands 4-2. It was amazing to see the way things actually really shaped out, and the dream still lives on. Up next, it will be semi-finals, that is between Croatia and Argentina, and it will be a repeat of 2018. Remember, it is the same team, Croatia, that sent Argentina home. This time they have scores to settle, and remember, this is the last World Cup for Lionel Messi. He'll be wanting to leave a legacy as one of the greatest footballers of all time, and of course the only medal that is eluding in his industrious career is the World Cup. He has won it all. Talk about UEFA Champions League, winning domestic titles, that is Copa America, winning titles with Barcelona, and of course PSG. This is a player that has won it all except World Cup. Will he actually lift it for the first time in his career this time round? That's actually time will tell, and of course a date with destiny awaits. But until then, the only thing that is standing on their way right now is Croatia. Should they beat them, then they'll be proceeding all the way to the final. And of course, it was tears to Brazilian fans, and of course players having worked so hard for this particular tournament, with of course the most decorated and star-sided team of, let's talk about the likes of Neymar, we have the likes of Richarlison, the little Arthax there in front, we have the likes of Vinicius Jr., but all those names, all right now as we speak, they are heading home to Sao Paulo, and of course they'll have themselves to be blamed. They will have time to reflect on what really actually went wrong. Remember, this is a team that already scored the first goal, but Croatia, of course, spoiled the party, and at the end of the day they were unable to convert on the spot kick, and it was actually the European side that actually converted, and in the process taught them some penalty lessons. I'm sure they'll learn that one, and they'll have to wait until at least another 4 years to fight and try to put themselves in a way to win the title for the 6th time. But until then, they'll be watching the finals somewhere on the fence, seated, waiting and seeing how the events will be unfolding. Today we have Morocco and Portugal, and Michael here is a fan of Portugal, and Portugal will be playing against Morocco. Well, it's a tough match.
A tough one, obviously. We have seen a very resilient Moroccan side.
All right.
Being the only African country currently in the FIFA World Cup. And it will be a test for the Fernando Santos side, that is Portugal. But in this match, if I can be asked my opinion on what Fernando Santos should do is stick to his last call concerning Cristiano Ronaldo,
All right.
benching him, because we have seen Goncalo Ramos, of course, coming to this team and showing what Portugal has been lacking. You're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, who has been missing some of his earlier qualities. It is not a Cristiano Ronaldo who can hold on the ball and, of course, make forward passes. Even we have not seen him get clear-cut chances and maybe missing, but the overall play of the Portuguese side has really improved with the inclusion of Goncalo Ramos. Remember, this season he has 9 goals and 1 assist for Benfica. Last season he had 7 goals in 29 appearances. Now you can see a lot of improvement. He has only played 11 matches this season. He has more goals than the entire last season. In the Champions League, that is the biggest stage, he has 5 goals. That just shows the quality that was missing on the final third, or at the center of course, Portugal's striking line. And let me say, at this stage, from the round of 16, it's sort of not all about the kind of players you have, of course.
Mhm.
It's all about the commitment, motivation, resilience. When you go down, we have to rise and, of course, prove a point. And I think the team that will be able to do the other in this, from this viewpoint of course, being motivated, is the one that will carry the day.
All right, even before we take a look at today's fixtures, that is Portugal versus Morocco and England versus France, let me take you back to the last of the round of 16. This is where actually, majority of teams, went home courtesy of some brilliant tactics. We're talking about a team like, the Blue Samurai, Japan, after they really fought and actually they finished top of the group. But it is the same Croatia, and actually on the penalty that really sent them home. So is Croatia the, magicians of penalties, or what is happening? Because they have survived twice on penalties, and actually they are still moving on. Coming to this World Cup, many people will not have fancy, a Croatian side. Many would have thought, the 2018 was much of a fairy tale, but this time round, people are looking for teams like, let's say, the likes of the obvious one. We have Brazil there, so they wanted to know, will this time, will it see a Brazil, Argentina, either final or semi-finals? But the script actually changed. Well, another theme that is really interesting to take a look at is, a very on the Senegal. The Senegalese side have really, for the most part, have dominated, and many would have thought it is the Senegal that will have been in place of Morocco. But they were punished by, if you ask me, a better side, a more organized and more little side than the Senegalese, and that is England. 3 goals without scoring, and the end of it, and that was the end of story. But it will be said, they really tried and they reached the round of 16. Now let's take a look at these two particular teams. I'm talking about Croatia versus Japan, and of course England and Senegal. Well, what is the one key lesson that you learned in these two particular matches?
One key lesson is what I've already talked about. The latter stages. This is not the group stage.
Mm-hmm.
This is a stage that, of course, you reach after you have, of course, shown a lot of quality in the group stage. But now, when you reach this stage, it's all about commitment and focus. And of course, luck plays part in this, because you can't convince me a team like Brazil. They had a lot of quality, school depth, everything. But I think they slipped. I'll talk about Brazil, but first of all, on Senegal, I think there was no fighting spirit in the last match. That is the round of 16 against England. There was no maybe they had an organization, yes, but not, they were outplayed by England. But they almost lacked these virtues, because if at all they fought in this match, we would see at least them scoring maybe one goal or two, and of course losing, but showing that we have really fought, we have done our best. Talk of, for example, Cameroon, what we saw them doing the last match, that is was against Brazil, winning, but of course being eliminated. But yes, we have fought, we have given everything, we have left everything on the pitch. And then on Croatia versus Japan, I think it was a case of the better team in penalties.
The better team in penalties won.
Yeah, Croatia have, we saw that is Dominik Livakovic, the Dynamo Zagreb goalkeeper, of course, producing magic performances, and yet again in the quarters we saw him doing the same. So it's not a matter of luck, it's something he has perfected in. And I think for Japan, they had nothing to lose. Of course, we are coming to this tournament to win, but I would describe them, I would put them in the same category as Wales. They came to the tournament after, I think, so many years, decades, and though they were eliminated in the group stage, their main aim was come back to the tournament, experience, and of course learn lessons, and then next time, of course, implement what you have learned from this one.
Well, it was a tough one for Japan, because there's a team that beat the likes of Spain, talking about the likes of Germany, and they actually topped their group, coming to the round of 16. So this is a team that had really, put so much hard work, and they really wanted to win this one. They wanted to prove a point. So for me, I think it is a matter of, let's say, bad luck to some sort, but they have learned lessons and they live to fight another day. And I reckon in the coming future, this team will be one of the most, feared team, actually, as far as football is concerned. And that is the Asian continent, of course, with the likes of South Korea. But I see this time a Japan that had really, organized themselves. They knew what they wanted. They had kept their eyes on the prize, but unfortunately, luck did not play it in their favor. Well, if I talk about Senegal, then I think Senegal were, they looked to me as if they were tense, coming against a team like England, and that's why they were outsmart in the final rounds of the game. They really started well with a few counters here and there, but they lose the grip, and that was the final, that was the final doom for them. The 3 goals that was scored between, say, the likes of Saka, and actually there is some kudos to Gareth Southgate. I think the combination of Saka, Harry Kane, and Phil Foden really worked quite some magic. Remember the last 2 games that they have played. Actually, these two, the 3 frontline have really worked, some sort of chemistry quite well. So if he maintains that particular lineup, especially the front 3, then I see a team that will really give France a nightmare. So I think the change of formation, or rather the change of formation, have really brought some, the competitive aspect in England, and it has brought the best out of them. Phil Foden is a player that, in my own opinion, should not be sitting on the bench. This is a player that he brings the intensity that the game lacks. He brings the attacking instinct that a team lacks, and he's bringing the best out of Harry Kane. And of course, Bukayo Saka is a goal scorer. The way he's working so hard, trying to meander through the wings, cutting in, that is what you want to see in a player. And I think that one was a right call and a right move, and it has worked. So for Senegal, they really have to, up next time. And of course, especially when they come against a superior team. Remember, they had trouble against Netherlands. Remember the 2 goals that were scored in a flash of probably 5 minutes, and the game was over. So for me, they don't have the ability to contain the so called big teams, especially we saw them in Netherlands, we saw them in England, and they were lucky against Ecuador. Well, that having been said, there is still another giant that fumble. We're talking about Spain. Spain.
Spain.
Of course, actually there is some form here that we call them the sleeping giant, and this will start with Spain for me, because this was the hardest of all. Spain, Japan, Spain, Japan, South Korea, Australia, Senegal, Switzerland, USA, and Poland. Sleeping giant. Sleeping, especially Spain. Against Morocco, they should have done better. But they were challenged, and that is football. That's what makes World Cup very interesting. Well, Spain versus Morocco. Did you ever imagine, even in your wildest dream, that it was possible for Morocco to proceed past Spain?
Yeah. Let me say, last weekend when we were here, I talked about I was giving Morocco a bigger chance, a better chance as compared to Senegal.
Mm-hmm.
But again, coming up against Spain, one of the sides that has displayed, one of the quality, a lot of quality in this World Cup, aside with a mixture of experience and, of course, youthfulness. We are talking about aside with the likes of Pedri, Gavi. We are talking of experienced ones like Koke and the likes of Busquets. But again, it was a matter of the teams that understood their assignment better in this one, because Morocco knew that we are coming to this match, of course, to defend, be compact when we are out of possession, and then Spain, you are coming to this match, dominate, create lots of chances, and of course be ruthless in front of goal, and that is something I didn't see from them. But again, I saw a lot of quality from Morocco goalkeeper, that is Bono. And this is something that he has been displaying for the past few years in the Spanish La Liga. And it was a case of whoever understands his assignment better wins the game, and in this case it was Morocco.
Well, some sort of disappointing performance was a clash between Portugal and Switzerland. Remember, for the better part of World Cup, Switzerland have not conceded more than, let's say, 4 goals. It was a pity to see a team like Switzerland, shipping in 6. It was amazing. It was to some sort much of a punishment. I did not expect that from a team that is so much compact. The defense, a team that plays, they have discipline in the defense, and all of a sudden they ship in 6.
I think that is what they lacked, discipline, because they have a very good goalkeeper, Jan Sommer, one of the best, but again, you can't work alone. This is a team. You need to display teamwork. And but also now talking from Portugal's point of view, there was a lot of improvement, as I said, from pre-season. I watched their game against Nigeria, that is in the pre-World Cup.
All right.
I saw a lot of improvement in their hold-up play, the way they are able, of course, to utilize the likes of Bruno Fernandes. And of course, he was one of the most crucial players in this one. I mean, he had 69 pressures applied on this Swiss side. I mean, if Fernando Santos wants to really go forward and, of course, they are already in the latter stages, but of course, qualify for the semi-finals, he has to be, of course, maintain his decision to bench Cristiano Ronaldo. I know it's hard. I know Cristiano Ronaldo is one player who has a lot of influence in that dressing room. But you have to, if you need to, of course, you have a goal to win such a big tournament.
So, according to you, you see a replica of the last round of 16 to today's quarterfinal.
It's really hard for the manager to bench Cristiano back to back.
But it's possible.
Yeah, but I've not seen it from him. It was the first time he's benching him and bringing in a young lad like Goncalo. And that's what I'm saying. If he can maintain that to
Right.
today's match, I think they can go a long way.
Well, that is something that we'll have to wait and see. And of course, now let's move on. Let's talk about Argentina versus Argentina versus Netherlands. Yesterday it was epic. Leading from 73rd all the way until the very final minutes of it. Out of flash, 2 goals, setting the match to extra.
I mean, it's something that even Lionel Messi himself didn't believe. Of course, he was blaming the manager, not the manager, but the match official, Mathieu Lahoz, at full time for his decisions. But I think for Netherlands, it was a case of the manager's tactical switch when he brought in Weghorst. That meant that they had more overload in their attack. They switched, I think, to a 4-2-4, something like that. So they had more players on the ball in their final third, in their, of course, striking. And so, but I think they also lacked something. They lacked their Messi. Argentina had a Messi. They have a player who can produce magical moments. You saw the first assist. That is absolutely ridiculous from a ridiculous angle. For Frankie de Jong, it is one of the players I was expecting to see such kind of line-breaking passes from him. But again, there was a lot of pressure on him. He couldn't find space to, of course, looping those crosses. And also in the final minutes, we saw the likes of Luke de Jong coming in, and so it meant that the manager now wants to, of course, use crosses. If you look at Weghorst, a tall player, Luke de Jong, a tall player, and actually from the first goal, it was a cross from the right-hand side, and of course, after that, a bit lucky, but at the end with that short free kick. But again, going to the penalties, I mean, Virgil van Dijk, that's where they lost it. If you have now your captain losing the first penalty, of course, anyone can can miss a penalty. But again, I think they should have done something with the second one. Maybe give a more experienced player like Weghorst. Of course, he converted his penalty. So after Van Dijk missed the first one, I think they should not have given Berghuis, who is quite young and not experienced. I mean, he's going to the spot kick. My captain has already missed a senior player, so I think it was a case of lack of confidence for the second penalty. But again, at the end of it all, luck still plays part, and I think Lautaro Martinez.
For yesterday's match between Argentina and Netherlands, for me, Netherlands were the better team. Actually, the way they were pressing, they look actually lethal on ball, and it was just some sort of misfortune for them to exit. Actually, Netherlands were the team that went home unbeaten.
Of course.
Then that tells you the caliber, the team that Louis van Gaal have crafted. He has really spent so much time working on this Netherlands team. He has built a formidable team, the one that their team spirit is high, the way they press, the way they defend, their chemical between players, how they attack, the way they position themselves. So there's a team that had the potential to actually lift this particular trophy, but the way they say nobody really knows about penalty, but I'll have to give it to Emiliano Martinez. This is a keeper that we have seen his ability. Remember when he was in still in Arsenal, the way he was the first few seasons. Many will see that this is a star in making, and actually yesterday he was the man of the match. If there is someone that really carried Argentina all the way to the semis, is Emilio Martinez, because he saved 2 penalties, and this was the defining factors between the two teams. This was the determinant, and actually at the end of it all, it was Martinez who carried, Argentina. Of course, headline will read about Messi's influence, the way his, insane pass, his penalty, the one that he scored. But at the end of the day, you'll remember the contribution of Emilio Martinez. This is the man that really, made a point or was the difference between the two sides. Well, same case goes to, Croatia goalkeeper. He really did some extra work, if you ask me, to deny Brazil. And here's the reason why Croatia tonight will celebrate. I'm sure it's quite a celebration there. The fans were crazy, coming up against a team of Brazil, a team that has won it 5 times, a team that many would have fancied, and actually many fancied to carry this particular title. And now coming against that team with all the caliber of players that they have, and at the end of the day, it is Croatia that proceed. It is a moment to behold.
Of course, but if I may add on that Brazilian side, I think the kind of dance they did in the last stage, that was round of 16. Korea. I know it's their culture. They fancy dancing a lot, but again, I think they overdid it.
But you need to come on. If you win, like, you enjoy it. You dance, you sing, you do whatever you want, because it is the right thing to do. Nobody can take it away from you.
Maybe if that was their goal coming to this tournament, you're coming to beat South Korea and of course celebrate a lot. Are they a big team? Are they ranked one of the best? Of course, they were one of the best in this.
Actually, they are the best team in the world.
Yeah, this tournament. But again, I think they lacked some discipline for me. That is Brazil. Not many will agree with me, but at the end of the day, it's all about luck.
I think they overdo it. Brazil is a team that, just like many will say, it's the most decorated team that we have ever seen. Especially, they were called the golden generation because the likes of Vinicius Jr., Rodri, we have the likes of Pedro, quality players, of course. Talk about Richarlison. There is rumors that players like Neymar came with their barbers, to do some hairstyle. So all these things, it was some sort like this. They were in for party. I guess maybe they partied a lot until they forget that they really have to win a match.
Yeah, that is what I want to talk about. For example, this Rodrigo of Real Madrid. From the group stage, he was on black hair, and then coming to this one, I'm seeing him with white dye like the rest, the likes of Richarlison. I mean, you are losing your goal. You are not coming to this competition to show yourself.
But you have to win it in a style, you mix it with some sort of, glamour and a bit of fun, football with fun, it makes it quite awesome.
He should have done it before coming to this, like the likes of Richarlison and Neymar. I think they lost some discipline and focus because of such, and he ends up missing the penalty. Actually, it was not a miss, but it was saved. So I think, they lost focus. As a Brazilian team, we are coming also to win it for senior players like Neymar, who also fancies such hairstyles and so on, party. Yeah, I think they lack the focus.
They live to, they'll have themselves to blame. Well, another big match, of course, the one that I'm sure everybody's looking forward for this particular match. I'm talking about England versus France. The statistics between these two teams are quite interesting. Quite interesting. When you look at England and France, head-to-head statistics, of course, England has, emerged top. But this is another different Brazil. I mean, different France. Talk about Kylian Mbappe. Talk about the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Antonio Griezmann. A team that has little attack, team that has formidable chemistry, a team that knows how to win this tournament. Remember, these are the defending champion, and they have really proved doubters wrong. There is a saying, the World Cup hoodoo, that once you win the tournament, actually to proceed to this level that they have reached, it's quite a miracle. But against all odds, they conquered, and now they are in the quarterfinals. Probably, who knows, maybe next time we'll be talking about them, in the semi-finals. And of course, maybe they could be in the finals again.
Maybe we have seen already Croatia, last World Cup's finalist, in the semi-finals.
Yeah.
And now it's France up against England. For this one, again, I don't think many will agree with me, but I think England will carry the day.
Will carry the day.
Yeah. England.
No, I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you because when you look at the way these two teams play, they play some sort of similar. The only difference is that England are, they depend so much on counters sometimes, and much of the time France has been quite a bit relaxed team, and they haven't actually come against a strong opponent that will give them a run for their money. So today is the day that, actually, if you ask me, today is the mother of all games. Remember, two of the most dominant teams. Oh my God, it will be quite amazing and thrilling to watch. Kylian Mbappe. There is some talks. Kyle Walker has been reserved for Kylian Mbappe, so they want to mark Kylian Mbappe because this is the main threat, and actually the one that many will see will pose a threat to England. But it will be a tough one for either side. But on a good day, I will fancy an England side.
Of course, when you talk about Mbappe, you are talking about the top scorer of this competition. Player that, of course, his pace is something to fancy. But now you have had this discussion concerning Kyle Walker. He's one of England's and, of course, world's football speedsters. But again, in this match, you end up marking Mbappe and then you are hit from somewhere else.
Right.
We have the likes of Giroud, France joint top scorer. That is top scorer at the moment. We are talking about, even in midfield, you have seen the likes of this guy who plays for Juventus, that is Rabiot. He's a player who can score goals, provide assists. So I think it's all about being compact. Don't focus so much on Kylian Mbappe, but come to this match knowing that you are facing a very strong team that has quality players. A goal can come from anywhere. We also have the likes of Konate in defense. I mean, it will be so nice and interesting to watch.
When you look at statistics, let's take a look at goals scored. Actually, England have scored 12 goals, same with Portugal, and France follows in a distant third with 9 goals. So out of goals scored, Kylian Mbappe has 5, meaning the other 4 goals has been distributed between Olivier Giroud and it's actually Olivier Giroud and Rabiot. So Giroud has 3, Rabiot has 1. So for me, I think if you want to, to render France blunt, then you have to mark Kylian Mbappe because this is the main threat. This is the man that dribble past defenders and scores. So if you mark the guy, then you will be in as much as France has players that are capable, but I think the one that is actually the major threat will be Kylian Mbappe. No wonder he has been given Kyle Walker. You know, he has speed. Same case with Kyle Walker. So it will be a battle between the two sprinters that in modern football. So it will be interesting to watch. Notwithstanding the threats of the likes of Olivier Giroud and even Antonio Griezmann, and we have the likes of Ousmane Dembele. He's very, his pace and dribbling skills will really pose a challenge. And there is one thing that as a coach and as a player you should be concerned about. There is a player that dribbles and that dribbles in the box and that could result to a penalty. And for a game that has high intensity like that one, any mistake that you made counts.
I mean, coming to this match, I think Deschamps and Southgate, one thing that they'll tell their players, it's a huge match and this is a game that is won by the fine details, not about the highlights, the likes of Mbappe, but those fine details you have to be very careful to, of course, not make your team be the spotlight at this particular stage. And you talked about Ousmane Dembele. Is one of the players that personally I was just hearing about him. I didn't know so much about in the past seasons, but I've watched him at Barcelona. He's a player who can keep the ball on his feet. Of course, very difficult when he's running at you. And now coming to this match, I think there is so many sources of threat. But Kylian Mbappe is one player, again, you have to stop him.
All right, now talking about Kylian Mbappe, even as we come to the tail end of this particular On The Sport show, let's talk about top scorers. And of course, I know the chart there, we have Kylian Mbappe with 5 goals. Messi has 4, then we have Gonzalo Ramos has 3, and a couple of players, the likes of Giroud, follow in a distance with 3 goals. Well, this time round, the Golden Boot, where do you see it going this time round? Remember, it's a neck-to-neck race.
Tough question. We have, if Kylian Mbappe manages to, that is France, if they manage to go past this stage, I think it's one of the favorites.
All right.
We are also talking about if Portugal are able to maintain their of course performance in the last match. This young lad Gonzalo Ramos, I also think he can really turn up a notch and of course challenge for it. We have Olivier Giroud. This is a big game player. You have seen him playing in the Premier League at Arsenal, at Chelsea. You have seen him scoring in the Champions League. Fantastic player. So if I were to rank them, I think we have Kylian Mbappe. If at all France, of course, attain a victory tonight. But if it is England that will win it, I think we also have to look at a player like Harry Kane.
Well, Harry Kane for me has 1 so far, so I don't think, in as much as he was last tournament's top scorer, but this time he has 1 goal, so 4 shy from top, that is Kylian Mbappe. And of course you have the prospect of Lionel Messi. Of course he's there, he has 4 goals, of course, and he's among the contenders for this Golden Boot. So should France see past England, then that means Kylian Mbappe with his red hot form in front of goals, then if he continues with the same spirit and margin, probably he will carry the day. Should he exit the stage, then that one I'd leave it to Messi, because I fancy Argentina, Morocco to the finals. I want to see Argentina, Morocco to the finals. And of course, this particular international sports review bring to the end this On The Sports show. Of course, it has been quite amazing, and epilating show for me, I and you to interact in this particular one. For all those who made this production a success, big shout out to my cameraman here, my camera person, that I beg your pardon, Martha, and of course my director today, Kevin there, then Wanjohi matters to do with sound. For all those who made this production a success, a big shout out to you and a salute to you. And of course, on a quick one, as we wind up, today I see Morocco going home with this thing. And just like I said, I see Argentina, Morocco in finals. I don't know how it will be this, but I see Morocco, Argentina in the final. But that is my opinion. As things stand, it's a bright day, bright Saturday day, and the day is good, and I know the result will always be good. Until then, do have a lovely and amazing Saturday. Good afternoon.
Kenyatta University will hold its 52nd graduation ceremony on Friday, 16th December 2022 at the main campus along the Thika Superhighway. KUTV will provide live coverage of the graduation ceremony from 8 a.m. The graduation ceremony will also be streamed live on KUTV and KU website, Lola app, and all KU social media platforms. The chief guest is Deputy President His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 020-870-3092 or 0786335111 or visit the KU website at www.ku.ac.ke. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives.
Sasa sote tuko sawa, nchi moja yenye